In a world overflowing with noise, chaos, and relentless urgency, we have become conditioned to respond only to what is loud, what is flashy, and what is dramatic. We wait for alarms, sirens, breaking news, and overwhelming signs before we consider something worthy of our attention. You never know who someone is till you veteran. But what if the most important turning point of your life is not announced with drums, nor revealed through external events, but instead comes as a soft whisper, a gentle shift, a subtle presence that tugs at the corner of your awareness? What if, before July 3rd, 2025, something sacred is calling you? But it does not scream, it does not chase, it simply invites. The deepest truths in life are never loud. The universe, when it moves, moves in silence. The soul, when it begins to awaken, does not shake the ground, it alters the current within. This is the nature of spiritual transformation. And this is the danger. Because while many people wait for explosive signs and major disruptions to recognize the call to change, the sacred often passes them by. Not because it did not come, but because they were not still enough to receive it. They were not quiet enough to hear the alarm bell of the soul. This is why the Shaolin monks say, train yourself to hear the footsteps of ants. It is not a poetic exaggeration, it is a practice of inner perception. They are teaching that sensitivity is strength. Awareness is a kind of superpower in this life, to notice what others ignore, to feel what others deny, to recognize the invitation hidden in the silence. This is the first requirement of spiritual awakening. So when I say, watch this message before July 3, 2025, I am not pointing to a video. I am pointing to a moment in time that will never repeat itself in the same way. I am pointing to a divine appointment that has been scheduled by a higher intelligence. Not for everyone, but for you. Look around you. There are signs already appearing. A strange emptiness in your once fulfilling routine, a sudden discomfort around people you used to enjoy, a deep yearning for something you cannot name, but you feel it gnawing at your spirit. You wake up, and even though the sun rises, something feels dim. Even when you smile, something feels missing. Even when you try to distract yourself, something pulls you back to stillness. Do you think this is random? Do you think this is just coincidence or emotional confusion? What you are feeling is a preparation. The soul is trying to break through the walls you built around it. And the world will do everything it can to drown out that inner alarm. It will offer you entertainment, distraction, urgency, anxiety, false deadlines, and meaningless noise. But you must understand this. The louder the world gets, the quieter your truth becomes. And if you do not take sacred action soon, the alarm bell will fade, not because it has stopped, but because you've trained yourself not to hear it anymore. Before July 3, 2025, something will knock on the door of your soul, not with a hammer, but with a whisper, not with fire, but with breath, not with chaos, but with peace. And your job is not to analyze it. Your job is not to compare it to what others are doing. Your job is to open the door. Do not let the simplicity of the call deceive you. It may come in the form of a fleeting idea, a moment of clarity in meditation, a sudden emotional release in solitude, a conversation that pierces your heart unexpectedly, a passage you read that hits deeper than it should. These are all invitations. These are all sacred bells ringing softly. The problem is not that the universe isn't guiding you. The problem is that you are still hoping for an earthquake when the blessing comes as a breeze. You are waiting for something dramatic when the divine appears in humility. The way forward is subtle, but it is powerful, and it is time sensitive. The gate does not remain open forever. Spiritual opportunities have seasons. They appear, they open, and they wait. But if you do not enter, if you do not respond, they vanish, leaving only the echo of what could have been. You might wonder, why this date? Why this time? You see, every soul has its own clock. Every soul has moments of readiness encoded deep within its journey. You may not understand the significance of a time until after it has passed, but the calling comes anyway. July 20, 2025 is not special because of the number, it is special because of the alignment. Something is aligning for you, internally and externally, a moment of clarity, a shift in spiritual energy, a new opening, a divine alignment of purpose. And while everyone else may continue their lives unaware, you are being told now, wake up. What you must understand is that spiritual awakening is not about becoming something else. It is about removing the noise, the lies, and the layers that have kept you from yourself. The alarm bell of the soul is not trying to change you. It is trying to return you to stillness, to awareness, to truth, to presence. It is reminding you of what you already know, but have forgotten, of who you already are, but have abandoned, of the path that was always meant for you, but you stepped off of, distracted by fear or obligation. But now the time has come to remember, to listen, to realign, and not because you are ready, but because it is necessary. There is no such thing as perfect readiness. There is only sacred timing, and this is it. Before the world pulls you back into the storm of distractions, before your mind convinces you to postpone once again, before the old habits regain their hold, you must decide, do I want to continue sleepwalking through my life, or do I want to awaken fully, completely, and forever? Understand, there is no shame in sleeping. We all sleep at times. The human experience includes seasons of forgetfulness. But the moment of awakening is holy. It is rare. It is a gift. And when it comes, you do not delay. You do not argue. You do not analyze. You bow your head. You close your eyes and you listen. Listen with your heart, with your body, with your intuition. Let your soul speak for once and do not interrupt it. You were not born to live like everyone else. You were not born to follow empty routines, to chase hollow goals, to numb yourself with noise. You were born to wake up. And sometimes that awakening begins with a quiet message, a single moment, a single breath, a whisper that says, it's time. The spiritual path is not always about great effort. Sometimes it is about deep stillness. Sometimes it is about receiving, not striving. But to receive, you must be empty. To receive, you must be quiet. To receive, you must pause. This is the pause the universe is asking you to take before July 3, 2025. A sacred pause, not a break from life, but a return to life. A breath in the middle of your run. A glance back to your soul before you forget it completely. A moment of recalibration before you drift too far from shore. So many people are lost, but they do not look for themselves. They are tired, but they refuse to rest. They are called, but they ignore the voice. And so they keep living, but never arrive. They keep surviving, but never feel. They keep achieving, but never awaken. Do not be like them. Do not let this message pass you by like just another piece of content. This is not entertainment. This is not motivation. This is a spiritual alarm. It is gentle, yes, but it is also final. You are being asked to look within before you look around. You are being asked to be honest about what no longer fits, what no longer feeds you, what no longer aligns with your truth. The relationships that drain you, the patterns that numb you, the environments that shrink you. This is not about judgment, it is about clarity. The more clearly you see, the more courageously you can choose. Before July 3, the universe is giving you a window, not for everything, but for one thing, one action, one shift, one decision. That small step will open the next. But if you ignore it, if you miss it, the path will begin to fade again into confusion. So take this moment seriously, not with fear, but with reverence. You do not need to change everything in one day. You do not need to become someone else. But you do need to listen. You do need to respond. You do need to wake up. Remember, the alarm bell of the soul rings quietly. It will not ring forever. But if you hear it now, honor it. If you feel it now, trust it. And if you know deep down that this message was meant for you, then act, prepare, reflect, align. Because what is coming will either pass over you unnoticed or transform you completely. The choice is yours. You do not need more time. You need more awareness. You do not need more information. You need more stillness. You do not need more validation. You need more truth. And truth is not found in noise. It is found in silence. That silence is calling you now. Will you answer? Before July 3, 2025. Before the gate closes. Before the whisper fades. Before the sacred returns to stillness. The idea of readiness is a powerful illusion. It is the single greatest excuse the mind has ever invented. It is the polished mask we wear to justify our delay. It is the invisible chain we use to anchor ourselves to the familiar. When we say we are not ready, what we are truly saying is that we are still afraid. We are still attached. We are still too loyal to comfort and too suspicious of the unknown. And so we wait, waiting for the day when all the lights turn green, when all the signs are clear, when every fear has vanished, when confidence finally arrives like a warrior to rescue us from hesitation. But that day never comes, and so life passes. To the seeker of truth, readiness is not a requirement, it is a trap. The path of awakening is not walked by those who feel prepared, but by those who decide to begin in spite of their fear. In the monastery, we do not wait for the mind to be silent before we meditate. We sit with the noise. We do not wait for the body to feel light before we train. We move through resistance. We do not wait for the weather to be perfect before we rise. We rise because it is time. You see, waiting for readiness is just a sophisticated way of refusing the call of the soul. It sounds noble, it sounds wise, but it is simply fear, dressed in robes of logic. There is something in your life right now that you know you must do. You have known it for a long time, but each time it rises within you, the same thoughts appear. I'm not ready. I don't have enough knowledge. I need more time. What if I fail? And so you push it away, you shrink, you stall, you hide, you distract yourself with smaller tasks, but the call does not die. It waits. And it grows louder with each passing day, not in volume, but in weight. The heaviness you feel in your heart is not depression, it is the spiritual burden of postponing your purpose. The path before you is sacred. It will not wait for your confidence to arrive. It demands courage, not certainty. It demands movement, not mastery. If you are being called to write, then begin writing. Poorly, clumsily, honestly. If you are being called to leave, then begin walking. Hesitantly, cautiously, but forward. If you are being called to change your life, then begin now, not after the storm settles, but in the rain. Because if you delay, the conditions will never improve. Why? Because it is not the conditions that need to change. It is you. You must become the kind of person who acts in uncertainty. You must become the kind of person who speaks before their voice is steady. You must become the kind of person who walks into the forest without a map, because the map is written after you walk, not before. The path appears only when you move. The clarity arrives after the commitment, not before. This is what most people never understand. They spend their lives waiting for the light, but the light only shines on those who step into the darkness first. Before July 3, 2025, you will be given an opportunity. It may not come dressed as something grand. It may come as a whisper, a feeling, a strange invitation, a small door that leads to a larger world. You will feel nervous, you will feel unprepared, but you must begin. Do not ask, am I ready? Ask instead, is this the moment I've been avoiding? Because what we avoid often hides what we seek. There is a strange paradox at the heart of transformation. The first step always feels wrong. It always feels premature. It always feels too early. Why? Because it interrupts the ego's illusion of control. The ego wants perfect timing. The soul wants true timing. And true timing is not something you feel. It is something you obey. You know when the moment has come. You can sense it. It will not scream, but it will not go away either. It waits in the background of your life like a quiet flame flickering in the wind of your resistance. You must begin, because your spirit is not meant to be stagnant. Like a river, it must move or it dies. Every day you delay, the current of your soul slows. Every day you postpone, you drift further from your own essence. It is not just that you are delaying action, you are delaying alignment. You are postponing the experience of living as your true self, and there is no substitute for that feeling. Nothing in the world can replace the energy that flows through you when you act in sacred timing, even if it is messy, even if it is awkward, even if it is terrifying. People often ask me, but what if I make the wrong choice? What if I begin and fail? And I say this: failure is not the enemy, delay is. Failure teaches, delay sedates. Failure humbles, delay poisons. Failure breaks the shell of the ego, delay strengthens it. When you begin, you grow. When you wait, you rot. And so I tell them what I now tell you: begin and let life correct you along the way. There is no straight path, there is only movement. Begin and let your steps teach you the dance. Begin and let your voice find its tone. Begin and let your heart remember its purpose. Before July 3rd, 2025, the world will offer you a mirror. You will see a version of yourself that you could become. You will glimpse a future that seems just beyond reach. And in that moment, you will feel both fear and excitement. Do not mistake the fear as a warning. It is not. It is a sign that your ego feels threatened. And that is a good sign, because the ego must die for the soul to lead. The part of you that feels not good enough, not strong enough, not smart enough, that part is dying. Let it. The new you does not wait for permission. The new you does not beg for certainty. The new you begins. Look around you. The world is changing rapidly. Energy is shifting. Old systems are breaking. New paths are forming. But only those who move with sacred boldness will be positioned to walk them. Everyone else will remain stuck in cycles of doubt, fear, and regret. You were not created to repeat old stories. You were not born to wait for life to happen. You were born to remember who you are and act like it. This is your time. Not tomorrow, not next week, not someday. Now. Do not let your mind trick you into a comfortable delay. Do not let logic become your jailer. The mind was never meant to lead. The mind was meant to serve. The soul is the compass. The intuition is the map. The breath is the guide. And all three are pointing in the same direction, forward. You are not alone. All who have walked the path of awakening have felt the same fear. They too questioned their timing. They too doubted their worth, but they walked anyway. And in walking, they became ready. You see, you do not become ready before you begin. You become ready because you begin. Readiness is not a state of mind. It is a byproduct of motion. It is earned through action. It is built through repetition. It is forged in fire. There is a fire calling you now. You can feel it. A burning at the edge of your consciousness. A heat that rises when you think of your calling. Do not extinguish it. Do not contain it. Let it burn through your excuses. Let it burn through your fear. Let it burn away the illusion that you must be perfect before you act. You are already enough. You are already called. You are already chosen. And the only thing standing in your way is your belief that you must wait. Before July 3, 2025, the gates will open. and you will either walk through or you will hesitate and watch them close again, not in punishment, but in rhythm. Life has a rhythm. It offers moments of great momentum, and if you catch them, you rise. But if you delay, you sink back into inertia. The greatest tragedy is not that people fail. It is that they never truly begin. Begin, even if you tremble. Begin, even if your voice shakes. Begin, even if you cannot see the full path. Because the path will reveal itself to those who honor its invitation. You have waited long enough. You have doubted long enough. You have rehearsed your fears long enough. Now, it is time to begin. Not later. Not when it's easy. Not when it's clear. But now. Before July 3, 2025. There is a deep and dangerous illusion that most people carry throughout their entire lives. The belief that because they are moving, they are awake. The belief that because they are busy, they are alive. The belief that because they are surrounded by others, they are connected. But motion does not mean purpose. Noise does not mean wisdom. And following others does not mean freedom. Most people are not living their lives. They are performing a role that was handed to them by someone else. They are following scripts that were never written by their own soul. They are walking a path so deeply worn by generations before them that they no longer remember how to feel the earth beneath their feet. And the great tragedy is not that they are lost. It is that they have no idea they are asleep. To sleep in the spiritual sense does not mean to rest. It means to forget who you are, to forget why you are here, to forget the immense power and presence that lives within you. It means to forget your own inner voice because the voices of the world are so loud, so persistent, so invasive that your truth becomes background noise. And once you forget your voice, once you forget your essence, you become a slave, not to a person, but to a system, not to chains, but to routines, not to violence, but to numbness. And this slavery is invisible because it looks like success. It looks like acceptance. It looks like normalcy. The spiritual warrior understands this. The greatest prisons are not made of bars, they are made of beliefs. And so long as you are not willing to question the beliefs you were given, you will never be free. So long as you accept every fear, every doubt, every expectation that society hands you, you will continue to move in circles, obedient, functional, but never fulfilled. And the soul begins to starve. You may not feel the hunger at first. You may even confuse it for tiredness, boredom, or dissatisfaction. But eventually, the starvation of the soul turns into suffering. And no matter how much you distract yourself, medicate yourself, or entertain yourself, it does not go away. Because the soul will not be silenced forever. Before July 3rd, 2025, you are being invited to wake up. Not because the world is ending, but because your false self is. The part of you that conforms, that agrees, that shrinks, that hides, it is dissolving. And when that part dies, you will feel fear. Because who are you if not the version you've always presented to the world? Who are you if not your career, your relationships, your image, your routine? This is the terror of awakening. It strips you of everything false, but it also gives you everything true. And that trait, though frightening, is sacred. If you remain asleep now, you will be pulled deeper into dependence. You will become increasingly numb to your own suffering. You will begin to justify things that once made you uncomfortable. You will defend systems that do not serve you. You will normalize pain. You will call your silence humility. You will call your fear wisdom. You will call your slavery a sacrifice. And slowly, you will forget you ever had wings, that you ever had a fire, that you were ever meant to fly. Waking up is not a comfortable process. It is not peaceful at first. It is not glamorous. It does not come with applause. It begins in silence. It begins in stillness. It begins when you finally stop distracting yourself and begin to ask the real questions. Why am I here? What am I afraid of? What am I doing that does not align with my spirit? What part of me am I betraying each day I stay on this path? These are the questions that shatter illusion. These are the questions that disturb the sleep of the soul. And once disturbed, you will not be able to return to your old patterns with the same innocence. Once you begin to see clearly, the lies will no longer comfort you. The masks will no longer fit. The old rooms will feel smaller. The people you once surrounded yourself with will feel unfamiliar. This is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is right. You are waking up. You are no longer willing to participate in your own oppression. But awakening is a choice. And like all sacred choices, it comes with consequences. You may lose friends. You may lose approval. You may lose the identity you worked so hard to build. But in return, you will gain freedom. And freedom is not the absence of responsibility. It is the presence of truth. It is the power to say no when the world demands your obedience. It is the clarity to walk away when everyone else is staying. It is the courage to create when others copy. It is the strength to follow your spirit when the crowd follows trends. If you stay asleep now, you will continue to live the life others have designed for you. You will continue to serve systems that do not see your soul. You will continue to wake up tired, not from effort, but from suppression. You will continue to search for happiness in all the places that drain you. And worst of all, you will believe this is normal. But you were not born for this. You were not born to fit in. You were not born to be managed. You were not born to serve the machine. You were born to awaken, to see clearly, to live deliberately, to walk with discipline, yes, but also with joy, to remember the sacred breath that flows through you, to embody wisdom, to express truth, to protect the spirit. There is no neutral ground in the spiritual life. Every day, every thought, every action either deepens your sleep or strengthens your awareness. You are either remembering yourself or abandoning yourself. And before July 3, 2025, this choice will be placed in front of you again, more clearly than ever. Something will happen. A moment, a message, a breakdown, a dream, a silence. And you will be given an opportunity to rise or to retreat. If you choose to rise, it will not be easy, but it will be real. You will begin to speak the truth even when your voice trembles. You will begin to walk away from what no longer nourishes your soul, even when it is familiar. You will begin to create boundaries, even when it angers those who benefited from your lack of them. You will begin to trust your inner compass more than external praise. And slowly, you will become sovereign. To be sovereign means to be whole, to be rooted, to be unshakable, not because life is easy, but because your foundation is truth. And that truth begins with one act, the act of waking up. Not tomorrow, not when you are ready, but now. Even if your eyes are heavy, even if your body is tired, even if your mind is confused, you open your eyes anyway. You sit up anyway. You look around not with fear, but with presence. And you see, truly see, your life, your patterns, your relationships, your thoughts. And you ask, is this mine? Or was it given to me? Is this truth? Or is this programming? Is this alignment? Or is this survival? If you are not willing to ask these questions, you will remain a spiritual slave, even if you dress well, even if you smile, even if you succeed in the eyes of the world, because slavery is not about status. It is about self-abandonment. And the world does not care if you abandon yourself. In fact, it rewards it. It pays you to betray your spirit. It promotes your false self. But when you stop playing that game, when you begin to wake up, it will resist. The noise will increase. The pressure will rise. The voices will try to pull you back. But you must remember, the resistance you feel is not a sign that you are wrong. It is a sign that you are freeing yourself. You do not have to explain your awakening to anyone. You do not have to convince others. You do not have to prove your path. You simply have to walk it. with clarity, with courage, and with compassion. Compassion not just for others, but for yourself. Because waking up is messy. You will make mistakes, you will stumble, you will doubt. But you keep walking, you keep breathing, you keep returning to presence. Because the price of falling asleep again is too high. The world needs you awake. Your family needs you awake. Your community needs you awake. Your soul is desperate for you to awaken. You cannot continue to live on autopilot and expect to feel peace. You cannot continue to ignore your intuition and expect to feel aligned. You cannot continue to betray your essence and expect to feel whole. The alarm is ringing, not loudly, but deeply, not externally, but spiritually. Before July 3, 2025, something will test your sleep, and it will be up to you whether you hit snooze again or rise. Do not wait for another sign. Do not wait for another breakdown. Do not wait until the pain becomes unbearable. Choose now. Choose wakefulness. Choose presence. Choose discipline. Choose truth. Because once you do, you are no longer a slave. You are no longer a follower. You are no longer a victim of life's storm. You become a master of your energy, a protector of your spirit, a builder of a new way. And from that moment on, you live. You truly live.